morning, happy Friday, and welcome back to the NOFO Live Show, where I, Sunita, along with my two co-hosts, Tracy from Miss Tracy Kessler and Kelly from NOFO in the Summer, we hop on every Friday at 9 a.m. for about 30 minutes and we chat about everything North Fork. It is a Friday and I'm excited that the weekend is here or coming tomorrow, but it is so gray and so rainy. And windy and cold, and so it just feels like stay home, make soup kind of a day, So I think that's what I'm going to do. I have some, I think it's white beans in my pantry, and I think I'm just going to make a soup. I just made a split pea and ham soup last week. That was delicious. And I made lentil red curry soup. So I feel like that's what's going to get me through the winter. Looking at the calendar, it is already middle of December. Before you know it, the whole 2022 is going to be over. I can't believe, I guess we feel this a lot of years. You blink and it goes by too fast, but it really does feel like since the start of COVID, a couple of years just seem to be blurring together and moving quicker without really having something to show for it, if you will. Good morning. How are you, Tracy?
Good morning. I was listening to you. I agree. The whole of 2022 went by so fast.
But I was thinking it's 2022, but I think it's really 2020 and onwards. It's just like a blur of a lot of time, but
no,
nothing to really go,
I have a thing to go about, but
Well, yes, but it just feels, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like years passed. Even though years passed, it has sometimes felt like a blur or whatever. It's just weird. I don't know how to describe it.
I know. Every time I try to recall, I'm like, was that in 2020, 2019, I just like, it's all one big time frame.
Every time I say something, I feel like, hi. Every time I say something, I feel like that was a year ago. That was 2 years ago. And then I realize it can't be because it's all pre-pandemic. And that's 3 years ago. Like, it's not a year ago.
I know. It's crazy. I know. Good morning, Lisl. How are you?
Morning, Tracy. How are you?
Good morning.
I almost was going to go to the barn and do this, but the weather is crazy.
I know. Oh, you should have, because we could have seen all your amazing
stuff. Yeah. I felt like with the wind and the rain, it was going to be too much. Or I wouldn't have a signal.
Yes.
That feels like not a day to leave the house unless you have to,
Oh,
exactly.
I know. Well, I am so excited to have you on today, Lisl, because in a short amount of time, our paths have intertwined many, many different ways, which is so NOFO, right? But the reason we're having Lisl on today is because she makes these amazing driftwood beach find pieces of art. And I have to say, I preface it that I am a very tough critic on crafts in general and like driftwood stuff, and your work is beautiful and classy and absolutely things I would want to have in my home. So I'm so excited to have you on today.
Thank you so much.
I want to hear. Go ahead.
That's a big compliment, Lisl. Because you know how Tracy is about her home decor.
Yes.
And things.
I do.
So I just want to stress and emphasize how big an endorsement that is.
Yes, I know.
Appreciate
because
that.
people generally think, because I love the beach and everything, that they're like, oh, you would love this like beach glass necklace or these and I'm like, I'm very careful about how integrated I get with these things, you know, and the way that you have integrated the oyster shells and the driftwood is honestly in a way I've never seen before. It is so, I want to get into your brain and learn how you came up with this because it's so beautiful.
Okay. Well, it's been a long journey to get to this point. I grew up on the North Fork. My mom is from Greenport. My dad was from East Marion. I graduated from Southold High School, and back then you go to college, you get a degree. So that's what I did. I went and got a biology degree at Appalachian State, North Carolina. And then I got my doctorate degree in pharmacy from Northeastern. And when I graduated, I moved home in 2008. I was working in corporate life, and I was artistic as a kid, but I had suppressed it, I guess. I was just, you need to work, make money, and didn't think that it was an option to focus on. And then in 2012, when I was getting married, that was when I started, my creative side was coming out. I was collecting driftwood off the beach. I wanted to make everything for my wedding. We made a beautiful driftwood arch. I did all the table numbers, were sailboats with the table number on it. I made candles and different things like that. And that kind of sparked it. So I was collecting driftwood pretty much every day when I would go. And then in 2014, when my mom passed away, it became a meditative process. And it was just, I just felt that I was closer to her when I was beachcombing, and that she was kind of speaking through me or something like that, I guess I would say, to follow what makes me happy and to just pursue it if that's what I wanted to do. So I left pharmacy in 2018 and started working for my brother-in-law, who's an oyster farmer in Southold for Cornell Oysters. And I was working on the oyster barge, and that's where my obsession with oyster shells came about. And during that time, I was making gifts for family and friends for Christmas and that type of thing. And they were pushing me to, you need to sell this. And I'm like, well, are you just saying this? Are you just telling me that it's not, like, you know, yeah. I wasn't believing it. And then when I was working for Cornell, we would be shucking oysters at Bedell, and the manager there, Elizabeth, asked me if I wanted to do an art event at Quarry Creek. And I said, okay, I'm going to do it. So I said yes. And that was the first time I showed all my art that I had been making. It went really well. I got amazing feedback. And ever since then, I've just been collecting. I collect mussel shells. I make mosaic kind of abstract art with that. But the first piece I made was out of a lobster trap frame. And then I did a scene on the top with mussel shells. And then underneath I have driftwood pieces. And then I printed out, I do photographing as well. So I printed a sunset picture on canvas and then cut it up and then put it as the backdrop to that piece that's hanging in the barn.
I was gonna say, that's the one that's hanging in the barn, right?
Yeah. Yes. I
love it.
So, and then it just kind of developed from there, just different. I was making oyster candles, but then I got bored with that. And then I started making oyster flowers on the driftwood because I have so much driftwood. Each piece is just, you know, it's hard for me to like let it go almost sometimes because I become attached to everything. So yeah, and then I started making oyster spoons, which I actually have a bunch hanging in my living room right now. And I just let it flow through me.
Lisl, I love the backstory of your progression of how you allowed yourself to accept that you're an artist, right? Because Tracy, you and I have had this conversation before about what makes you an artist. And I one time, I know you said this and it was just so profound for me. It's like, who needs to call you an artist? If you call yourself an artist, then are you an artist, right?
Yes, exactly.
And another thing I want to touch upon is when you talked about when we are littler, we really are trained to sort of put all of that in a box and follow a path and go to school and have a career. And one of the things I love about the new generation is that they are breaking all of those molds, you know? Yes. And I think we as parents, at least me as a parent, am still resisting, you know, I'm like, no, a degree is important and this is important. But I love that the new generation is like, no, this is soul crushing. Literally, they use that phrase for every corporate job that doesn't suit them, and they want to go try and make them happy.
Exactly.
And I love that they're doing that earlier and not wasting so many years of their life finding what they love.
Yes, you need to feel happy and fulfilled. And if you don't, it's, you know, you're going to have the older you get, you're just going to be filled with regret that you didn't do what made you happy or have excitement about working or, you know, that type of thing. So now I feel a lot more happier. I'm working, you know, I'm working at Brick Cove now, and that's incorporating my creative side as well. And, you know, it's just
But
overall, it's amazing.
it seems shocking on paper, or even as you say it, that you would give up a biology and a doctorate degree to be collecting driftwood off a beach,
I
right?
know. It's definitely scary. Yeah.
That's a scary plunge to take, yes. But you took it, and here you are
Yes.
creating stuff and feeling like you're an artist. So that's amazing. And
Yes. Yeah. I don't even like, I still am hesitant to call myself an artist even now. It just seems, well, I didn't go to art school and I have all these excuses in my head, but I just kind of let it go and show my stuff. And if you like it, you like it. You know, there's people that will still, oh, you know, I could make that. Well, you can go make it if you want, and
Right.
more power to you.
Yeah. You know,
So,
though, Lisl, I will say this, like, I collect driftwood too. And I actually have, I'm looking at a piece right now, and I have one out on my patio, and I see the potential in the pieces, right? That's why I'm picking them up. And then I get them home and I'm like, what do I do with this? You know, like,
yeah.
you are an artist because you see past that. You know, you see, oh, I could turn this into this, or I could do that. And I'm going to give you my two pieces and have you make
That'll be
something out
awesome.
of that, because, you know, it's like I see the potential, but I'm like, I'll just put it here as like a book stop. I don't know what else
Yeah,
to do
every
with it.
piece I pick up, and it looks like something, or I'm like, okay, that would be, I could use that for this. And, you know, my husband just rolls his eyes when I come, because I've lugged like gigantic beams off the beach into my car, and he doesn't see it until I start making something, and then he's like, wow, I can't believe you made that with this. I've sold a lot of different art pieces, and I've had some people commission me because especially the mussel shell ones, it just looks like a cool mosaic abstract piece. So I've had people want those, and then I've made driftwood lamps, which are popular too. Yeah, it's amazing.
well, I was at an event at Brick Cove at the Blue Barn where Tracy put together a beautiful evening. But a lot of your driftwood and I guess oyster flowers, is that what they are? Were displayed. I must say they are beautiful, and I feel like they're so simple. I'm not using simple in the word simple, in that they would fit into any decor, right? I could
Yes.
see myself using it for any holiday. They're not very specific. They're not, this is just for this particular holiday. And I loved it. You could use it year round.
Yeah, I want it to, I want the wood to look a certain way, and then just the oyster shell, or the shells and the flower to just be, yeah, a simple, elegant type thing that you could do on a tablescape, or, I've done ones where it's on the wall, like a sconce type of thing. So yeah, and the community out here is amazing as far as the art. When I've done different, I've done Dart's Christmas Tree Farm and Santa's Christmas Tree Farm and some other art event fairs, and just meeting people that are doing the same thing is that's pushes you even more, because it's scary to do that for the first time, and setting up and not having done it before, and well, what are they doing, or what does their table look like? But it's not competitive. It's very everyone
I feel like
introduces themselves.
it's the reverse of competitive. I don't know what that word is. I mean, other than
Right. Supportive.
I
It's
feel
supportive.
that every
Yes.
time you show up someplace where there are other Norfolk small businesses. I mean, even I don't know if you've been to the web meetings, but even the women entrepreneur business group that we have, I think every conversation there is, oh, you're a jewelry designer. She's a jewelry designer. Talk to her. And it's not like,
Yes.
so I think it's everybody shares ideas and is like, you should try this, you should try that.
Yeah,
Right?
there's a woman who makes jewelry. She casts it and makes sterling silver jewelry, and she wanted to do a little baby oyster shells. And so I went and found a bunch of little baby ones. I got some other little tiny slipper shells, and she was just I can't believe you went and did this. I mean, to me, it wasn't a big deal because I'm always going to the beach anyway. And I also know oyster farmers that have little oyster shells. So it just passing it on and, you know, helping out somebody else that's what it's all about.
You know, I want to touch on like the emotional side of things because you know that's where I live. And you know, a couple of things. One, the story of how this process brings you closer to your mom is just amazing to me, and how it's like a healing process, because I think it's so important for people to find whatever healing tool they can use. And I love that you found yours, and that not only is it a healing tool for you, but it's now given you, you know, a business that you run, and you're giving a gift to all the people here on the North Fork that you bring in your art to us. But the other thing I wanted to touch upon is, like, you know, you were kind of saying when you go to these art shows, you're looking at the other tables and I don't know how to set it up, and like your sort of insecurities about, you know, am I an artist? Do I belong here? Right. And I just want to point out that when we were putting together, Lisl and I met because when we were putting together the Brick Cove vendor event, artist event, I reached out to her. And I was going like, oh God, this girl's way too cool. She's never going to respond to me. I like, her stuff is so amazing. She's going to be like, who's this girl? Funny. Right? So it's just so amazing when we like look at where we are and how we put these insecurities in our way, right?
It's so
in our
funny.
Way. Like, if we hadn't connected, and I started the show by saying that you and I are connected in a short amount of time, in so many ways that it's kind of amazing.
It really is.
If I hadn't reached out and gotten over that insecurity of like, this girl's too cool and she's not going to respond to me, we would not have all these connections. Right?
That is so funny, because I was thinking the same. I'm like, oh my God, Brick Cove liked my I was at the gardens at BB, and then I'm like, okay, this is going to be amazing. She likes my stuff. I'm going to sign up for all these different, you know, the different.
It's so, I don't know what eyes we use to see ourselves through. If we look at ourselves with the way other people see us, it's like looking at two people, right?
It's crazy. It really is.
Tracy, I feel similarly about you, because you're so much on Instagram, sharing your life and sharing all the stuff you have going on. And I feel like people are probably intimidated to reach out to you and be like, you're so cool and you've got some. But when you do make that step and you do connect with you, Tracy, you realize that you're just every person. And it's so interesting how we tell these stories to ourselves when the reality is so different from what's playing in our head.
Yeah. I do really try. I respond to every single DM I get. And because I just think it's so important to me, Instagram has provided a lot of opportunities for us, this show being one of them, right? But to me, it's all about connection in every way, right? So, you know, if we can continue to get over those insecurities and continue to reach out. I need to hear this myself, because there's plenty of people that I'm like, oh, I would love to talk to her, but I'm afraid, you know?
Yeah. Instagram can do that. It's, there's so much on there that you can then get yourself into a hole of seeing what other people are making, and then you're not as far along in your journey yet. Right. But it doesn't. You just start wherever you want to start, and then you'll get to that point. And a lot of those other artists will give you advice on what do they use to, like, what glue do they use, or what kind of, you know, what different techniques have they used, and they'll offer that to you without, you know, they're not trying to hide or keep it from you. So
yeah. But also when you meet an artist, for example, you don't know what version of artist they're at right this point, right?
Right.
A lot of people will start, like you said, you started making candles and you started making other things. Everybody goes through so many versions of themselves, what they're doing, and you can't really compare somebody else's version 5.0, you know, to your 1.5, right?
Exactly.
So but we do make the mistake of falling into a real life trap. And it is important to point out that what you see on Instagram is a real and not real, you know?
Yes. So, Lisl, as you are a true North Forker, Sunita and I fully admit that we are transplants, although both of our families have been here since, you know, the 40s or such. My grandma was here in the 40s. Sunita, I don't know when your in-laws.
70s. I mean,
70s. Okay.
70s is 40 years, 50 years. I mean, it's a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. So but we ourselves are, you know, what everybody calls transplants. Um, and so I love making connections to like real North Forkers
Mhm.
because I know you guys have, you know, there's like some trepidation about all of the growth that's happening, and there's good sides to it and there's bad sides to it. And, you know, I'd love to hear your view of the North Fork and where it is right now.
Well, yeah, I was actually thinking about this because my grandfather was born in Brooklyn, and then his mom brought him, they went back to Austria, and then he moved back in his 20s or 30s and was a carpenter's apprentice in the city in Brooklyn. And then he discovered the North Fork and started Port of Egypt with the fishing station first with his two brothers, and then it became Port of Egypt now in Southold. But we have all these old pictures, and you know, it's the same type of, sorry, my dog's behind me. They came from the city, they rooted here. I've had that feeling of being local and wanting to protect it, and feeling this, you know, well, we grew up here, how do you know all the different things that have gone on, and how can you appreciate it? But it always starts from that same type of thing where you discover how amazing it is here, and then you want to live here. So it's just in a different year, and then 60 years, Tilly will be an adult and she'll be a local, and it'll be the same type of progression.
Yeah.
So I try not to get, you know, angry about it. I know a lot of people kind of have that mentality, but I try to just be open to it. And I've never had a bad interaction with anybody who isn't local or who isn't from, you know, didn't go to high school here. Everyone's super nice that I've met. I mean, I'm sure there's some people that aren't, but overall, I think the growth has been great. I mean, when I was in high school, everybody wanted to leave because there was nothing to do. You couldn't listen to music anywhere. There was no bands. There was barely any restaurants. So there wasn't anything happening here, and now there is. So
Yeah.
I think it's great.
That is inviting a lot of the younger that grew up here, that moved away, to come back. And even through the show or meeting people, a lot of people moved away through college or whatever, and are
Yes.
returning back to their home and rediscovering what they loved about being here. I mean, you can't take away the beach, right? I mean, that's
No.
always here. So for someone like you that spends a lot of time there, I'm sure that gives you a different perspective of life here rather than all the hustle and bustle and, you know, whatever. So
Yeah, I mean, I love it.
Well, we're going to go into our same 5 questions. Obviously, you can see that our co-host Kelly is not here. She was feeling under the weather. So Sunita and I are going to kick off all the questions. So we asked the same 5 questions of everybody. If you were going to take us to lunch or dinner, Lisl, where would you take us out?
If I was going to take you to lunch, which I would go, Bruce and Son, I love. I think they do brunch, if that counts. I love them. They're Scott. I went to high school with Scott, and he's an amazing chef. They also do pop-ups at Bruce and Son. So that would be my pick for lunch. And then if it was a dinner, usually my husband and I, we don't go out that much, but when we're on our boat, we go into Greenport and we get takeout. We usually go to Green Hill because they have great chicken sandwiches and wings. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Just for future guests and you, I mean, if the answer is inviting us to your beautiful boat for dinner, we're okay.
Definitely.
That works for us.
Do a sunset cruise.
Well, now you're pushing it. I mean, now just let us know when it's done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you were going to be cooking for us dinner, right, you'd be going to a farm stand. What farm stands do you find yourself frequent?
I definitely go to Bayview a lot. When we make homemade pizza, they have the pizza dough there, fresh mozzarella, basil, all that. So I go there if I want, they have everything there. And then where, oh, I'll go to Deep Roots Farm in Southold. They do their pork. You can sign up to get on their list. They raise, they raise pigs there, and then you can kind of pay to get part of the pig when they,
Wow.
yeah.
They do chicken as well. They
Yeah,
have
chicken. I go to Browder's Birds in Mattituck because they're on down on.
We all develop our. I go for eggplant. I go here for tomatoes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Browder's
so
Birds is cool because it's out of the way too.
Another
where is that one?
It's down. If you go down Wickham Avenue and
Okay.
go all the way to the end, it's down. Kind of, you feel like, where am I going? But it's at the very end of Wickham Avenue.
Okay. Okay, good to know. So, are you a brewery or a winery girl, and which ones do you frequent the most?
I would say I'm probably. I mean, we go to the Greenport Brewery a lot, and I love the NOFO brew in Riverhead. Only because the brewer, we go there just because they allow dogs and it's super dog friendly and that type of thing. And then wineries, I have, a spot for Corey Creek because they gave me my first chance, and they love, they do a Friday night flights, and they feature an artist each Friday, which I'm going to be there January 6th.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. So, and then, so other than them, though, I would probably say Leave on Oregon Avenue, Oregon Road. The sunsets there are great. It's kind of a tucked away winery off the beaten path. So I love that place too.
I think a lot of locals like it, partly because, I go there too, because they're one of the few ones that are open later.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
They're one of the few ones that are open till 7, believe it or not,
Yep.
I think the entertainment portion really ends on the North Fork at 6 p.m. So anyone considering moving here, keep that in mind.
Yeah. I always Google what's open, wineries open late, and yep, Leave is always one.
Yes. Okay, sunrise or sunset, girl?
Sunset, definitely.
And other than your boat, where would you be catching one?
Bailey's Beach is my number one go-to. That's where I've gone there every day almost for 10 years. That's where I collect most of my driftwood. There's actually a man, when you go to Bailey's, if you go to the right instead of the left, his name's Garrett Cutler. He has this amazing driftwood, he has a bamboo structure there, but then he has all of this driftwood art, and he's been putting it up for at least 10 years, if not more.
Wait, out on the beach or
out on the beach?
Oh,
huge pieces that he's collected, and then he puts away in the winter and then puts them out again.
Wow.
And they're like, I go and just kind of hang with him. He's kind of he says he's a beach bum. I think he's, I don't know if he was an artist, but he was maybe a designer of some sort. But it's really cool to walk down there and see what he's doing.
That sounds amazing. We have to go check that out, Sunita.
Yeah, I recommend. And bring your kid. It's so cool.
You said he puts it away. Is it put away right now?
Now it's put away.
Okay.
But every spring he comes out, and there's the same ones, but then he adds onto it. He's got a totem with flip-flops stapled to it. He's got these little things hanging, a big driftwood piece that looks like a bear with his arms open. It's super cool. It's very artistic.
So much creativity here. It's
yeah.
Crazy. I feel very connected to your pieces because I walk on the beach a lot too, and I pick up driftwood. But unlike you, I don't pick up driftwood that I think I'm going to make something with. I pick up driftwood that to me looks like something already. I'm like, look, this looks like dinosaurs. Look, this looks like a fish.
Yeah.
I have this giant basket of pieces, and I don't know if anybody else sees it. What
right.
they look like, but I see it, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
My goal is I want to come up with a driftwood bag to be able to carry driftwood and shells off the beach, because what I've been using is just, it's in my pockets. I'm filling up random bags. So I want to design a driftwood bag or beachcomber bag.
I love that. Great idea.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Can you also make one for sea glass, please? Because I carry a lot of that.
Yeah, there needs to be like a tiny little sea glass pocket in your beachcomber bag that
Yes,
doesn't get lost
exactly.
amongst the rest of the stuff, right?
Mhm.
Yes. And
All
something
right, so
carry and hands free.
yeah,
Yes,
Exactly.
yes, that's what you need.
exactly. All right, so Lisl, tell us, sum it up, why you love being a part of the North Fork community.
I love the history of it. I love just how you can go from the sound, and then you have the bay. There's farm stands, like just the farming. Now I'm losing my thought. I just love the history, and I love the community, especially and specifically with the art community, just how everybody supports each other, um, and you just see how connected it is, really.
Yeah, yeah. So speaking of support, people can go to Quarry Creek on January 6th
Yes.
and see your work.
Yep.
They can
Friday night.
follow you on Instagram at
Yes.
@adrift_North Fork.
Yep.
How else can they support you?
Well, your dog is supporting you right now.
Yes. That is really the only way to support me right now. Just follow me on Instagram. I'm going to be at Quarry Creek, and I'll probably be doing some other fairs
Do you sell your
in the
pieces
new year.
online? Sell your pieces online or only at shows?
Right now, only at shows or through people messaging me, but that's my next step. I'm moving forward into building a website and having it be easier for people to purchase.
Okay.
He definitely wants to be on the show today. What's his name?
Yes, this is Bowie.
Hi, Bowie.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And I can't wait to see more of what you create. And I those bags as soon as you have it.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Giving a shout out.
You,
I hope you're feeling better. I know she had a little bit of a headache, and so I hope she's doing better. Enjoy your weekend, ladies, and Tracy.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Happy Friday.
Bye.